There's a lot of great things about this routine. One in particular that I love is that there's really no setup at all to be able to perform this effect, and it resets instantly, so you're able to just hit a lot of tables in one night and continually do this routine. So when I say setup, there really isn't much at all, because the bell is just going to start in your back right pocket. I say right pocket. If you're left-handed, you're probably going to want to put this in your back left pocket. But for this routine, we're going to be putting the bell on my right side. All right. So to get set up for the trick, you're just going to take your clasp, toss it in the bell, and then put the bell in your back pocket. Now I'll turn around here briefly. You're just going to leave it sticking out. I think you should be able to see that, where the mouth of the bell is sticking out of your back pocket. Now, it doesn't matter. There's another great thing. You don't need to have a jacket on, right? You can just leave this back there. You can have a jacket on. It's not going to get in the way of anything as well. So that's how you're going to start to do just the basic routine, all right? So let's talk about how you get into the trick. First thing you're going to do is you're going to need to borrow a ring. Let's talk briefly about the rings for a second here. And then I think a little bit later, maybe I'll show you a couple other examples. The clasp that you received can really fit just about any size ring. That said, I don't think there's any reason to go after like a Super Bowl ring or something really small. It'll probably work with both. It's just that, you know, you might as well just stick within that average size. And in fact, I think one time in certain tricks where you do borrow rings, you can possibly get into trouble sometimes when you just say, hey, who's got a ring I can borrow? Because then a lot of times if somebody does have a crazy ring, somebody's going to like, oh no, I'm going to get them with this one, right? And they might bring out something wild that you might not want to use. Also, you might want to look for a guy's ring, so you're not dealing with any sort of stones that could possibly fall out of somebody's ring. So what I like to do is just kind of scan around, find a ring that I like, right? And then you're going to ask to borrow that particular ring. That way it's not just such of a wild card, right? You kind of see what you want and go after that ring. That's just some advice from me. But that said, really any ring will work for this routine. So under that guise of trying to find a ring is when you're going to take the clasp out of the bell in your back pocket. So maybe somebody in front of me here has a ring that I want to borrow. Hey, do you think it would be possible if I borrow your ring? And as you do, it's kind of the same question as like, who has a ring I can borrow, right? You're kind of searching your own body for something, or like, do I have maybe could I borrow your ring? Under that is where you're going to reach back into the bell and just simply take the clasp out of it, all right? There's plenty of misdirection to get that out. Now, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can simply just start with this in your hand, right? So there's two ways to start the routine there. You could just have it in the bell in your back pocket, or just keep it in your hand. Really simple, all right? But that's the way that I would take the clasp out of the bell if you want to start with your hands empty. Who has a ring I could borrow? Or hey, do you think I could borrow that ring? You're going to make a very minimal amount of noise. If you're working in any sort of environment, you know all that. It's just going to completely go away. So don't worry about it if you're practicing by yourself at home, which is probably most of us at this point. Okay, so you just want to get the clasp in your hand. Now you're going to borrow the ring. There's really no move to get the ring onto the clasp. That's what we're going to be doing next, is getting the ring attached to the clasp. Let's talk about the operation of the clasp, and then we'll talk about, you know, some more misdirection you can use to actually get the ring onto the clasp. So the clasp works in two ways. One is that you can pull this down and it will open up so that you can put a ring on it, okay? The other way is to simply push the ring against the opening, and it will just click on. You don't have to pull this lever down. So you can just use pressure and it goes right on, okay? So I'm doing it this way. You could also be in a situation where you're just clicking it on over the top, right? Whatever is most comfortable for you. In sharing this routine with some friends over the past couple of years, I find it really easy to pull down on the stick, but in sharing it with some other friends, they really didn't think that the stick was something they felt comfortable using, they just like to push it on. So whatever you find easier is what you should go with. I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to do that. So you'll want to get the clasp in your hand in a position so that you can attach it to the ring. Now, there's a lot of ways to make this really easy. You take the ring and you're just going to look at it and ask the spectator a question. It's pretty easy. Hey, what's the significance of this ring? Or, hey, where'd you get this? Or, you know, man, I think sometimes we miss opportunities to find out some really cool information from our audience, and at the same time, we'll give you 2 minutes to just put the stupid clasp on the ring, right? So don't burn by this. You know, oh, this is a really great ring. What is that, a sapphire? You know, so what I do is I ask the question, and then I relax and just bring the ring to the center of my body to where this clasp is. Really, I mean, as you can see, my fingers are just hiding everything as I push the clasp onto the ring. And that's it. And just talk with your spectators. Find out about the ring. There's really no move. Don't make a move out of it. Just be casual and place the clasp on the ring. It's really nothing to it. Talk to your spectators. Once the clasp is on the ring, here's a couple ways that I like to hold it. I like to put the ring on my finger. Let me show you what's going on behind there, right? Now, I have a ring here that's like a decent size for my fingers, and I have, you know, probably average size fingers. So most rings I can kind of at least put on the tip of my finger. But I like to just kind of casually hold it with the clasp hanging behind it, right? There's different positions you can be in here too, or you could hold it like this. As long as you're in control of where this clasp is, you can control the angle of what the audience sees. But I love this position of it just hanging out here as you discuss more about the ring, okay? So that's it, really. I mean, you can also, you know, hold it this way, just concealing the ring. There's probably a lot of different ways that you could hold this while concealing the clasp that might be more comfortable to you.